Earlier in the week, I talked about the line in Philadelphia hosting San Francisco and how Philadelphia being the underdog, 3 or 3.5 points is what they're getting. And that's now become like a storyline. I was looking at Axios this morning, and they had a headline like, disrespect. Driving the news, San Francisco will find out what it means to the one-loss Philadelphia Birds team that, despite the NFL's best record, enters Sunday's highly anticipated home matchup against San Francisco as underdogs. And it says, like, this is psyching up the fans. Like, the fans are saying, what? How could Philadelphia be an underdog at home with their nearly perfect record? Well, have some skin in the game. Enjoy yourself. My listeners in Michigan love the Play Gun Lake Casino and Sportsbook app. Play all your favorite casino games for real money and then bet on your favorite sports. College football this weekend, a lot of big stuff going on. It's all about the conference championship games and for some teams making a final case to the College Football Playoff Committee. And then on Sunday, Detroit, a 4-point road favorite at New Orleans. Philly, as I mentioned, 3 or 3.5. Check the line. Home underdog. I took Philadelphia in the points. How could I not? Download the Play Gun Lake Casino app right now. Get all your favorite casino games right at your fingertips. Bet on the sports. Have some skin in the game. There's a great offer for new users. A wager that has to be an amount that has to be wagered. Let me say it correctly. Download the Play Gun Lake online casino app right now and get up to $1,000 casino bonus back. If you're down to the first 24 hours, it's for new users only and it's got to be wagered. Okay. Terms and conditions apply. See the website at playgunlake.com for details. Have to be 21 and in Michigan. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Michigan Problem Gambling Helpline, 1-800-270-7117. Headlines now from the Friday edition of the newsletter. Do you remember the story? Of course you do. About the Virginia Democratic House of Delegates candidate who was involved in streaming sex acts on, what was it called, Chatterbait. And when this all came to light, she continued her candidacy. She kind of owned it. She ended up losing. It was a relatively close election, as I say, running for the Virginia House of Delegates. And we had conversation about it. She was a D. There's this new story about an R, about a couple from Florida. Did you, by the way, see the headline for the newsletter? For the thumbnail, it says Three's Company.
Yes, it did. It did say Three's Company. How proud were you of that one?
Pretty proud of it.
Yeah, okay. And then how about for the newsletter?
Three-way allegations dog GOP leader.
What are you having reference on that? What's the emphasis?
I don't know. I just thought it was funny. This is a crazy story.
Well, you know what? Given the Richmond story, it also makes you think, what's going on behind all these closed doors?
What is going on? I have a theory.
You never know.
I have a theory.
You never know.
I have a theory about it.
What's your theory?
No, I don't want to give you my theory until we explain the story.
Okay, explain the story.
Okay, so the story is the husband is the GOP chair in Florida.
Yeah, he is.
Home of, Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump.
Right.
Okay, so he's a big deal in Florida politics. The wife, and dare I say, she's good looking. Is that relevant? Oh, go ahead. Scold me now.
Go ahead. Continue.
Would the Virginia story have been of significance or of interest if she were not good looking?
Yes. Come on.
It would have been anyway.
Just keep going.
Okay. Was it made better or more interesting because she was good looking?
Depends who you're talking to, Michael.
All right. So in this case, the wife.
Yes.
The wife. She's like a founder of Moms for Liberty.
Moms for Liberty, which is that organization, very conservative activism organization, right. The ones that try to keep books out of schools and certain things from being discussed, totally, against LGBTQ, anything same-sex, wrong, anything, just sort of like the anti-sex, the anti-gender fluidity, the everything like that.
By the way, the story here is not that this very conservative, prominent Florida couple on a routine basis would engage in a threesome. Okay, that's not the story. That's not the story.
That's not the story.
The story is
fine. Evidently.
The story instead is a claim of sexual battery. Because here is the story from Sarasota. The Sarasota Police Department is investigating a sexual battery allegation against Florida GOP chair Christian Ziegler, a political bombshell in the home state of former President Donald Trump and Governor Ron DeSantis. Probably Trump loves this. This is not going to cause him to distance himself from the chair. Don't you think?
Or he just, I think he probably has the sense like that everybody else gets caught with this stuff, you know?
The USA Today network in Florida requested documents from the Sarasota Police Department mentioning Ziegler, and the agency produced heavily redacted reports from an officer who responded to the initial complaint and detective. We're going to show them for our YouTube audience. By the way, watch us on YouTube. Every day when we talk about the headlines, we're also on YouTube. Can we put up on the screen what that police report looks like? Because there's like nothing to it. Everything's darkened out.
There are 4 words.
Right. Rape,
allegedly, sexual battery, and I think rape again.
The detective's report states that the individual reported being sexually battered at home in Sarasota on October 2nd. The report again mentions a sexual assault allegation, sexual assault complaint, but has no further information. Yeah, the words are stated raped, stated that, and raped.
This isn't funny, obviously.
No.
I mean, we're making light of the sort of the hypocrisy, but the allegation is that there was a couple that was involved in a long-term consensual 3-way relationship with another woman.
Right.
This accusation evidently happened at the home of the other woman with just the husband there. The wife was not there, and she's accusing him of rape and sexual battery. So I don't know what went on. They were consensual until they weren't. Just because you're in a sexual relationship with someone doesn't mean that you can't be attacked by them. Let's just put that out there.
Here's the crux of the story from the Sarasota Herald. Sources told the Trident that the woman accusing Christian Ziegler of sexual battery, quote, alleged that she and both Zieglers had been involved in a long-standing consensual 3-way sexual relationship prior to the incident, the incident that you just referenced. The incident occurred when Christian Ziegler and the woman were alone at the woman's house, the sources told the advocacy group. The allegations are sure to reverberate across Florida's political landscape, throwing the Florida GOP into turmoil at a time when the party is gearing up for the 2024 election. I mentioned that Bridget Ziegler, was a founder of Moms for Liberty. The group put out a statement. Yet another attempt today to ruin the reputation of a strong woman fighting for America. By the way, TC, this is getting a lot of coverage. And one of the items that I read about it was in Mother Jones. Kira Butler made this observation. If this were the subject of a book, it would be a book that Moms for Liberty would seek to ban.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Yeah, you can't have a 3-way relationship. I mean, one assumes that within the 3-way sexual relationship there was same-sex, although not necessarily, I guess.
Was the third
could be
wheel
observing, not participating?
Was the third wheel there for the benefit of him or her or both?
Well, that's the question.
That is the question.
I'm not sure it's a question. I don't care per se. I mean, you do what you want to do, but doesn't it speak to the hypocrisy of it? Right? Or does it speak to the hypocrisy even if it's not same sex? In other words, if it's not same sex, then is she just, oh, come on, it's completely hypocrisy anyway, right?
So now let's get back to your initial inquiry about this, which is to say, like first it was the woman in Virginia and she's running for the House of Delegates, and it's not like it was 20 years ago and she was in college. Okay?
Oh, no, this is current.
Current. Right. And
this is also current.
This is October 2nd.
Yeah.
This is October 2nd. So if you lined up 100 random people, okay, here's an architect and a plumber and an accountant and a housewife, if we still use that term, just like a random 100 people.
Radio host,
sure. Podcaster. So if you lined up 100 people, right?
Yes.
And then you lined up 100 politicians, people involved who have run for office.
Right.
Are you going to find the same incidence level among the random crowd as the political crowd, or is there more of these antics?
When you say incidences, do you mean
threesomes, chatterbait, having sex with your husband and letting people watch? Is there more because I have a theory, and it was once discussed on this program, although it's been a while.
I think
does it go with the territory?
I think it's universal.
Okay, but you're not really answering my question, or maybe you are.
I am answering it. I do not believe it is higher in politicians. I think we find out about it because they're in the public eye.
Right.
But I think given that we have found out about these politicians is indicative that it is more prevalent in society than we think it is.
Well, that might be true.
Which is all well and good as long as you're not a hypocrite.
That is not my theory, though.
I mean, don't be talking out about against same-sex relationships if you're in a same-sex relationship, even
obviously,
if it's just sex.
Okay, but now here's the right answer. The right answer is there's a higher, here's my theory, and I'm sticking to it.
You think there's a higher degree?
There's a higher incidence of this in the political class.
Why?
Because by definition, those who seek elective office are risk takers. And it's part of their DNA and part of that risk taking. Not all. I'm not saying everybody who runs for office is up for a threesome. But I am saying that there's a higher degree of risk taking in that personality type, and therefore more of these shenanigans follow.
The reason I would counteract that, though, is you're assuming that that's risky. Why is that risky?
You don't think...
I mean...
How long can we extend this? We're having too much fun.
You and I could talk about this all day. I'm quite sure of it.
Anyway, we have leading the website today, the New York Times story. This is not funny, but it's the story that says that Israel knew of the Hamas attack plan
you turned on a
long
dime.
Time ago.
You turned on a dime
But
there.
at the other end of the spectrum, we also have this. There are great headlines today at the Smerconish.com newsletter and website. Okay. More now that comes from the newsletter and website. Poll results from yesterday, 20,613 votes cast. Which debate will have more viewers, DeSantis versus Newsom or the fourth GOP presidential debate next week? 77.75% absolutely had the right answer in saying DeSantis and Newsom. As I sit here, I've not seen any of the data. I've not seen any of the numbers for the debate last night, but the amount of coverage that it was given going into the debate in all of the media today, clips. I was on here. This will sum it up for you.
Yes.
It was aired on Fox, on Hannity's show, his time. He was the moderator. I was on CNN this morning talking about the debate.
Yeah.
So it's that big of an issue. And I've already said, and I don't want to be repetitive, but I really like seeing this type of debate. We can talk about the sum and substance and the X's and the O's of it, but I've long advocated, I know I said it in the 2016 cycle when there were 15 people on that stage at the Reagan Library, and I was there that night, pair them up. Like a March Madness bracket in your office pool. Not that it's elimination, but give me DeSantis and Haley now. Get Vivek Ramaswamy and Chris Christie out of the way. Those are the two, so put them together. And earlier in the process, think about all the different pairings that you could have had. It would have been fun. You'd see them in a different light. You got a good glimpse of both of these individuals last night. I think that it's a Rorschach test. Was there a winner between them? No, but there was no blood drawn. Like, nobody made a gaffe that's being shown on a loop today. And so each get to appease their base, and it was fun to watch. I mean, it was fun to watch.
Yeah, no, I disagree with you. I found it awful to watch. It's so funny how you and I saw the same thing and really came off different. I thought they talked over each other. They were both obnoxious. I found it almost unbearable.
Stuart Wolf wrote exclusive content for Smerconish.com today, a really great piece. He's an attorney in Orange County, California. I've met him. He's a listener. And he thinks that last night's debate was a success for federalism. Different approaches taken by different states to address different problems. And there's a paragraph in his piece that I really appreciated. He said, even more than creating policy diversity, American federalism assists in protecting against national homogenization. True, it seems that there's a Starbucks, Panera Bread, and Orange Theory Fitness on almost every main street in America, and we Americans genuinely love their predictable levels of quality and delivery. But it is also because of federalism that we have Go Cups on Bourbon Street in New Orleans, street skateboarding in Venice Beach, the smell of cigar smoke floating from Domino Park in Miami's Little Havana, and the abundance of available Ubers and Bird scooters in highly unregulated Dallas. All this creates a tapestry of regional diversity that makes each part of our country unique, fun, and interesting. President Bill Clinton put it this way: federalism strengthens the fabric of our nation by fostering a sense of unity while preserving the unique identity of each state. That was so well written and makes such a great observation. Today, poll question, Smerconish.com, does the U.S. global footprint make its citizens more or less safe? This stems from USA Today analysis of data supplied by a guest on today's program, Dr. Stephanie Saville, who was a senior researcher at the Watson Institute for International and Public Affairs at Brown. And she makes the point that on Joe Biden's watch, our robust and far-reaching, I think that's how I'll say it, foreign policy continues. Like 70-some nations we've been active in on a counterterrorism basis in just the last 2 or 3 years. There are only 195, I think, nations on the planet. George Santos getting a lot of attention. The vote obviously being taken today on expulsion. I'll just say this in passing about Santos. I thought that Matt Gaetz had the best line when he stood and said, I rise not in defense of George Santos, whoever he is.
I loved that.
And then went on to make a process argument like, hey, leave it up to the people of New York as to whether you throw him out. Four different friends of mine sent me the Rand Paul Heimlich maneuver story,
sure.
saving Joni Ernst. Have I become like a person identified with? I'm like the Heimlich guy.
You're the Heimlich guy.
Yeah.
You had him as an expert witness. You've told the story recently.
True.
And in the past. And,
True.
And now it's on everybody's mind. So when I see the Heimlich maneuver, who do I think of? You.
Thank you.
And by the way,
you were not one of the four.
This was really cool. I mean, thank goodness for Senator Dr. Rand Paul.
So Joni Ernst said, can't help but choke on the woke policies Dems are forcing down our throats.
Ha ha ha. No, that was funny. Come on. It's okay.
I thought that the better line came from my friend, the law professor Shane Inspector, the trial lawyer, who said to me, okay, I've revealed him to be one of the four now, haven't I?
Boy.
I thought that Rand Paul was against government intervention. Now, that's a little more
funny.
cerebral.
That's very funny.
It's a funny joke,
That's
right?
a good one, yes.
I don't know what to make of this. Maybe there's nothing to be made of this. I don't know. But we talked yesterday or the day before about the Gilgo Beach suspected killer's wife and how she got a deal with, what is it, Peacock, NBC, which to me explains why all of a sudden she's in the courtroom, because now she's got to offer some commentary as to what she sees. Big story in the New York Post, a cheek swab taken from Rex Heuermann's estranged wife matches the DNA found on one of his alleged victims. Is that of any significance, or maybe you expect that?
Yeah, I thought I would expect that.
Hair all over the place.
That's exactly right. So I shed. I'm a shedder. I don't know if a lot, like women. You probably don't know this because you don't have a lot of hair, but my hair's all over the place. So I can imagine if someone in my house wanted to go and not have DNA, they should be really careful. And evidently a hair of hers was on the burlap that one of the victims was wrapped in. If he took it from the house, he takes it from the bed. I don't know.
Yeah.
To me, it was like, and you had sort of made mention of this the other day. She was out of the country at every single murder.
Yes,
which
I find
thought
that curious.
was interesting.
I mean, you can say, I see that he waited,
Right.
and when she was gone,
Right. He took advantage.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Could a serial killer resist the temptation? I don't know enough about it.
I think it's hair transfer from inside the house, and given what I know about my hair, it did not surprise me. That's what I'm
Did
saying.
Taylor Swift secretly marry Joe Alwyn, and who is Joe Alwyn?
Joe Alwyn is her former boyfriend, who is a British actor. No is the answer, according to her and everybody in her circle. The answer is no, and Dumois, which is a online, it's like an Instagram,
Bonjour.
TikTok that people send in celebrity tips, and so in other words, if I'm walking down the street and I see Alec Baldwin, I can text them and say, Alec Baldwin seen, walking on Chelsea Market.
I always wondered, how does that happen?
And then they put it up. And so then they
spotted.
Yeah, exactly.
I always wondered.
Right. And so they said this, and she's not happy.
Finally, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not interested in
I was gonna
Tesla's
ask you.
Cybertruck.
People are asking.
It just, to me, looks,
Funky.
I don't like the look of it.
Yeah.
I don't like the look. I want to say this, though. You know that when people vote at Smerconish.com on the poll question, there's a prompt there that allows you to suggest a poll question to me. Steve Facenda, Wayne, Pennsylvania. That's a familiar name to me. I feel like I know him. He suggested a poll question and wanted to know if I would buy another Tesla, given Elon Musk's controversial statements recently in the context of Gaza and allegations of anti-Semitism.
Oh.
And, I must say, when Scott Galloway, I listened to a Galloway podcast a week ago when he was talking about Elon Musk. He's not a fan. And I've soured on Musk.
Oh, dear.
I've soured on Musk. I was so eager and interested in the Isaacson book and so on and so forth. But now a different question. I don't embrace his politics. It's not like he speaks for me. I speak for myself. But Robert De Niro this week did a diatribe against Donald Trump. And it came into the news and it was in our newsletter because he was then edited and he went off and he said, hey, they wouldn't let me, do this. I have not yet seen Killers of the Flower Moon because it's 3.5 hours long, but I'm interested in it, David Graham. So, but if I were a Trumpster, am I not going to see that movie? Oh, it's De Niro. I can't do it. Look at me with Roger Waters. My falling out with Roger Waters. Do I still listen to Pink Floyd? I do.
Right.
So does that now, this is a subject for a longer conversation, and I love this issue. But do I now say, I got to get rid of my car? I love my car. Am I now going to say I can't do it because...
Is there a difference between music and cars?
Or movies, or books, or anything. Anything. So
right.
That's the issue. To be continued. Okay.
There you go.
Unless there's breaking news, I'll see you tomorrow morning on CNN at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, which means a 7:30 YouTube. We'll be back on our normal schedule. Listen to TC After Dark. Please listen to my podcasts as well. Like and subscribe, all of this stuff, and have a great weekend.